Now, I've said this once and I'll say it again, but the top 3 shareholders over at the Walt Disney Company, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, are the true root cause of the growing issues with their overall agenda, such as DEI and ESG, really covering over what should be presented properly, like proper storytelling and character development and execution in these films and television programs, but this is all a part of Bob Iger's plan by design. Now, focusing on what's been going on with Jenna Ortega, there's been a lot of back and forth scenarios going on between herself, the Disney executives, and all the drama in between. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So it's really revealing about this whole scenario going on right now over at the Walt Disney Company in the midst of his cost containment plan and really dialing back on funds being poured into some of the projects up and coming, whether it's animated or live action projects. We'll dive more into that later in the week. But what's interesting about Jenna Ortega's situation going on right now over at the Walt Disney Company is actually growing to be a more severe case for not just Bob Iger, but also for the Disney heads, the executives, the board of directors, etc. And it's beginning to reveal more about their overall ideology, what they truly believe in, and what they are willing to do to those that do not believe in their overall ideology. Now, this is where things begin to really get intense. Now, we all know that Jenna Ortega is against the constant, drama and everything else going on by Disney, their overall agenda, if you will, that they have shoehorned into nearly every single property that they own. But what's interesting here is that with the Walt Disney Company in a constant phase of damage control and double down mode over their deliberate agendas and Bob Iger's cost containment strategy, one major development going on right now has more to do with actress Jenna Ortega and the Walt Disney Company in the midst of the ongoing drama happening between herself and the executives over the upcoming Disney animated 2026 film, which is planned to be a massive movie which has a whopping $300 million plus budget, after Jenna Ortega recently raised criticism behind the scenes and publicly about, of course, Disney's agenda and Rachel Zegler and Snow White 2025, along with Disney's concept of gender swapping and race swapping characters in popular properties. Already new negotiations were recently laid out on the table for the 2026 Pixar film, where Jenna Ortega is now only going to be paid half of what she was previously promised for the role of voicing a popular Disney character now in animated form. Now, the general metrics of what Jenna was going to receive in her contract for the film was going to be an estimated, get this, $7 million payout that has now been drastically reduced down to $2 million flat. Now, Jenna and her team, such as her agent and manager, actually were going over these changes and coming directly after Jenna, and how Disney came after Jenna after she made those comments about the Walt Disney Company publicly and behind the scenes about their DEI agenda and their ideology, and it's already beginning to come back to her as an actress, and wrongfully so. Now, this was a last-minute decision by Bob Iger and the Disney executives that is now creating a serious conflict between Ortega and her team and the Disney higher-ups in regards to this new Pixar project that is best described, by the way, as a crossover film of all the major Disney characters in animated form. The project is codenamed Blue Wave. The decrease in her payout for the project came just days after Jenna made those comments about the film industry and Disney overall. And the obvious agenda coming from Bob Iger and even Jenna's agent and manager are reportedly furious over this recent development, to the point that they are now actually advising Jenna to back out of this project completely and to move away from Disney altogether. Now, interestingly enough, Jenna has been trying to desperately negotiate with Disney to change their ways and their usage of DEI and ESG to dial back on that concept that is so divisive since it doesn't properly focus on the story. Now, guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing about Ortega, is that she really seems like she wanted to bring great change to a company that she was once a part of years and years ago when she was a younger actress, a far younger actress, and basically what she found herself in was this nightmare where she woke up and realized that Disney is all about this constant message that they're trying to shoehorn into things like Star Wars, Marvel, Snow White, or any other kind of property that they do own. And it's the very big truth here that Bob Iger does not want to step away from that. Regardless of what he's said before in the past about quieting down the noise and how Disney does not engage in a culture war, or Disney refuses to admit that they promote any kind of an agenda, it really is all exactly that. Basically, all the lies coming from Bob Iger is all about pleasing the shareholders and or the customer base. Now, moving on forward, that effort has been done to no avail by Ortega, and though, of course, no effect coming from the Disney higher-ups. Instead, Disney punished Ortega by not only decreasing her payout for the 2026 Pixar film, but even went as far to now only provide her a smaller role than originally promised by Bob Iger and the rest of the company for this film in particular. So isn't that petty, guys? They not only decreased her payout, but they also provided her a smaller role than what she was supposed to get beforehand in this 2026 Blue Wave project. Now, again, like I said before, this project is going to be done in Shrek animation style. It's going to be labeled as a crossover film featuring all the popular Disney characters in one, and they're using this project as a way to essentially compete against DreamWorks' upcoming Shrek 5 film. I don't know if you guys knew that, but Shrek is making a comeback in a couple of years from now by DreamWorks, and Disney wants to go head-to-head with them. Now, I'm not quite sure if that's really going to compete against Shrek 5. We'll have to wait and see whether or not they're successful. I highly doubt it. But moving on forward to the conclusion here, Jenna's agent and manager already got involved in aggressive arguments with those leading this project, including the creatives. Even Jenna is now leaning toward dropping out of the project entirely and giving up on her return to Disney overall, after trying to make a comeback for months now behind the scenes for both nostalgic reasons to her fans and for expansion. Now, I get it, you want to have some kind of nostalgic value there over at Disney because you were once a part of them. But that's not working, obviously, because Bob Iger, the rest over at Disney, anybody that follows him, all of his loyalists, they don't believe in a proper story. They don't believe in proper character development unless they're backed into a corner by people like Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy, who did that successfully, by the way. Otherwise, they will do whatever they can, when they can, when they realize that they can get away with it, essentially. So, in this case, they were taking advantage of Ortega, obviously. They realized that she really was fully aware about what was going on over at Disney and how more and more people are beginning to wake up. And with Jenna's recent comments, by the way, she's really waking up her core fan base as well about what's been going on in the film industry for the past 5, 6, heck 7 years now. So I think that we're hitting the peak level of the agenda from all these major studios, and it's beginning to truly backfire. Overall, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.